Ready?
All right, you're on.
Okay. I'm Mr. Hurley.
And I'm Miss Corey.
And we are with Miss Cantrell.
Keep moving.
What grade? First and second grade class. All right.
Okay, so everybody think back to when we did our investigation about the magnets and how they work through different materials. Do you all remember that? Give me a thumbs up if you remember that. Where's my thumbs up? Good. Okay, so we are remembering back. So, we are going to go through all of the items that we used when we did this. And we're going to see how many of you said yes, it would work, and how many of you said no, it would work. So, I'm going to need you guys to raise your hands when we're talking about the different items. So, our investigation question was, can magnets work through other materials than air? So first we're going to talk about the cardboard. So how many of you said the cardboard, the magnet works through the cardboard?
Can you stand over there?
Yeah.
Cause you're. Okay, sorry.
Are you like
I
confused?
was going to write.
Yeah, it's fine. But I'll just stand here and you write still. It's fine. So how many of you said it worked through the cardboard? Do you guys remember that?
I would hold up the cardboard.
I was like, here's the cardboard. And you have the magnets and it works through it or it does not work through it. So how many say yes, it works through it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 people said yes.
13 people said yes. And how many said no, it doesn't work through it?
1. All right.
One person. All right. So how many people said that the magnets work through the one card, just one single card this time? Everybody raise your hand really high. Table forward. Get your hands up or no?
17.
Okay, good. Did anybody think no, it didn't work? Did anybody say no, it didn't work through one single card? Okay, moving on to the deck of cards. Remember how the deck of cards is a little thicker? So how many people said yes, it worked through the deck of cards? Oh, it's
9. All right, 9 people.
9. All right. Now raise your hand. You said no. It doesn't work through a big, thick deck of cards.
All right, 7.
Okay. Now the paper bag. Paper bag. Here's the paper bag. Does it work through the paper bag?
11.
Okay. What if it doesn't? Does it not? Does anybody think it does not work through the paper bag? One person. She said it doesn't work through the paper bag. I'm glad you raised your hand. Okay. How about the folded washcloth? So we folded it up really, really tight. So then it's like this big. Here's my washcloth, imagine. All right. So how many people said it does work through this folded up washcloth?
1, 2,
2, 3. There's 3. Okay. How many people said no? It doesn't work through this big folded washcloth because it's pretty thick.
14.
14. Okay, how about the flat washcloth when it's open?
15.
Now, who said it doesn't work? Anybody think it doesn't work through it? Okay, our math's getting off on all of these, but that's okay. Okay, the water bottle. Last one. So who said the magnet will work through the water bottle? Who thinks it will work through the water bottle?
14.
Okay, and who says it won't? It won't work through that water bottle. 3.
All right. So, what I'm going to talk about, guys, let's look at some of the patterns that we noticed, all right? So let's look back up at the deck of cards here, all right? So, almost everybody said that it works through a single card, right? All right, but we were kind of split on the deck of cards here. So what's the difference between the single card and the big, thick deck of cards?
Remember, we're trying to answer the question.
Oh, I said thick and that can be something. So what's the difference between the single card and the deck of cards, okay? Is it the material? What is it? What did you think, Chelsea?
With the deck of cards, it's thick.
It's thick.
It's too thick.
Okay, it's really thick. Okay, so it can't be the material because it's the same material, right? But yeah, Chelsea made a really good point that, the deck of cards is a lot bigger than the single deck of cards. Why do you guys think that we were so split on whether it worked or it didn't work? Does anybody have any guesses? What do you think?
Maybe there's like a different amount of cards in the box,
A different
or
amount of
maybe you're
cards.
missing some.
Okay, that's a really good, that'd make a big difference, yeah. Chad, what do you think?
Maybe some people have stronger magnets.
Exactly. So some people may have had stronger magnets. So does the size of magnets have to do anything with how strong a magnet is?
What is this? What do you mean by strong magnet?
Like more hold between the two, I guess.
Okay. Okay, cool. So do you think if we had a really big magnet, do you think that it would work better throughout a deck of cards? Or do you think that would play a difference, or make a difference?
I think it'd work better.
It would work better? Why do you think that?
Because bigger is stronger.
Interesting. Okay. Well, what's interesting is if you had a big magnet, it could be a really weak magnet, or if you have a really small magnet, because I have a magnet that's about this big.
So you're explaining right now.
Okay.
How could you not explain?
Have them explain instead of me explaining.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you guys think? Melanie and Megan.
Well, truthfully, we didn't really go over this, at least not with these guys. In
The
our
size.
last one, the size does not matter. Size doesn't have an effect on whether it's stronger or not stronger. So, you guys, we can try to explain it, but you guys have to go with this.
How would you? What do you want to make sure to incorporate into your explore phase if this misconception comes up?
That's not true.
In the explore phase, we want to include different size magnets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we didn't do that with the lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretend
Now
that
we
you
have.
did. Yeah. Pretend that you did.
Okay.
So,
So Chad, do you remember how we had those really big magnets whenever we did the explore phase?
Yes.
Yeah. So what was interesting though, is whenever we had those really big magnets, remember how it didn't work through the deck of cards? Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Remember how we had those really small magnets? They were about that big. Do you remember that? It's just stretch it all. Remember how the really small magnets somehow worked through the deck of cards?
You're doing the exact same thing that Andy was doing earlier.
Yeah.
Class, what is he doing?
Bleeding.
He's leading them to, leading them. So does Chad have his data in front of him? So get him to say this. So use questions to get him. Andy can give you some tips. Andy, give him some tips. Andy, what should he do?
The biggest thing that's my problem is I just talk too fast and I kind of answer my own questions without thinking about it. Are their own questions.
Okay.
So I can't remember what I did today. I think I just had them give them keywords and just kind of have them go.
This is tricky because I was trying to get some information because we actually didn't do that.
Well, just let him make up his story since
all right,
it's
make
story.
it up, go.
We all know
Basically,
Chad is
on
the
you.
end.
The big magnet. What do you want? Tell him what he should say, but then practice getting him to say that.
Okay, I want him to say that the bigger if you have a big magnet, sometimes it's weaker, and if it was sometimes a big magnet is weaker than a
The
smaller.
size
magnet.
of the magnet does not affect the force of the magnet.
That's what we wanted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what they're going to try to get you to make sense of. Then you want to not say that initially.
Am I supposed to know what does determine the force of it?
That's a good question.
No.
No.
Okay. Okay. So.
So basically, okay, do you want to do it with me? Okay, do it with me.
Yes.
Okay. So what did you see whenever you used a different kind of magnets with the deck of cards?
So the bigger magnet was the strongest, and the little magnet was the weakest.
Is that,
That's what I'm saying.
okay, so is that what we saw on when you did it with your table or with your friends? Well, can somebody help her out? Is that what you
No,
guys
keep
saw at
talking
your
to me.
table?
Keep talking to me. I'm going to say.
Okay, well let's look back at the data that you collected.
Oh.
Okay, so look
Just
at
get
that
out
data.
our magnets to do it again.
So look at that data. What did you write down on your sheet whenever you made observations for the deck of cards?
Oh, the data. I didn't even think about this. Yeah, the big one didn't work through
Interesting.
one of them.
Okay,
The
so
big one didn't work through the big deck of cards.
what does that tell you then? Sometimes, even though the magnet was bigger, Chad made a prediction that the bigger the magnet, the stronger the force. What is that data telling you?
Oh, I found that it didn't work through the big cards, so it must not matter?
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that is a great exactly. So the size of the magnet is like Dr. Benedict-Chambers said. The size of the magnet does not matter. Sometimes big magnets, like our activity showed, sometimes the big magnets are sometimes weaker than the smaller magnet. And it's all about the attraction, and sometimes the attraction is stronger with the smaller magnets, but weaker with the bigger magnets. So the size does not matter at all. What really matters is the thickness of what's between the objects, like we see in our data here. So we had the thin card that was that thin, and then we had the really thick card that was really thick. So sometimes it didn't work through that.
So that's our pattern. So like the cardboard was thin, the card was thin, but what happened with the deck of cards was it was too thick. Then we had the paper bag that we had pretty thin again. And then we had the washcloth folded up really tight. And you guys even said, that's where we see our pattern. You guys said, no, it did not work. Well, more of you said, no, we called.
It actually works with our group.
What?
It actually worked with our group.
So what do you think could cause that?
I think it was the magnet force. Is that what you were saying? The
Yeah,
attraction?
okay. So maybe your magnets were stronger than other groups. What do you think?
Yeah, they were super powered strong.
Do you think there's another reason that your group could maybe it didn't work?
I don't know. We didn't have any kryptonite.
I think a lot of the other groups were maybe folding their washcloth even thicker than you guys folded yours.
Oh, that
So
could
then, maybe if you guys tried it again and you folded it the exact same thickness as all your other tables, then maybe it would not work for yours again.
Maybe.
Okay, and then...
Okay, I want to highlight two good things. That was really nice, Megan. So one of the takeaways is that you need to make sure all the kids are doing it the exact same way.
Yeah.
And that was really great. So you thought maybe Jennifer's group didn't do it the same way. And this is what happens in the explain phase. You often, like the light group, you have to go back and redo it quickly.
Yeah.
Hey, Jennifer's group, let's do it quickly to make sure that we're clear.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you'll have that there.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so of course then we go to the washcloth folded or not folded, and so then once again that's a thin material, and then the water bottles are also a thin material. So now we are going to go ahead and pass out. Okay, there you go. I'm gonna move my hand backward.
Is Melanie leading this part? Melanie should be leading this part. You guys are doing a lot of talking.
Okay. Okay, sorry, you need to lead? Yeah, I'll pass it out.
Okay. We are going to finish our investigation question. Can magnets work through materials other than air? So using our data that we have, our observations that we've made, we can look and see that we tried to stick magnets together. We tried to use the force of magnets through materials, right? We didn't use magnet to magnet, we used them through materials. So, we are going to think and see if we can answer this question, or answer this claim. I think magnets can or cannot work through materials other than air because I saw, and we are going to use what we saw with our eyeballs when we were doing our observations to finish this sentence frame, okay? So first, I want you to give me a thumbs up if you think magnets can work through materials other than air based on our data. Thumbs up if they can work through materials. Okay, now give me a thumbs up if you think they cannot work through materials. Very good. They can work through materials because we saw them work through materials when we did our observations. And next, when we finish our claim, I want you to write something that you saw the magnets work through when you did your observations. Erica, would you like to tell me something that you saw the magnets work through?
I saw it work through the single card.
Very good, very good. Chad? Oh, he's at the same table. I'm sorry. Andy, would you like to tell me what you saw your magnets work through?
I said they can work because I saw them work through the paper bag.
Very good. So those are two things that magnets can work through. So they can work through materials other than air. When we talk about magnets and their force, we're talking about a push or a pull. Because you've seen magnets push and pull, and you've seen them work through materials. And so we're going to fill out the bottom of this paper, which is our reasoning, which is the terms that scientists use, real scientists. And now that you've done an observation and an investigation, just like real scientists, we are going to use real science language. So we're going to say the science idea that helps me explain this is that magnets can push or pull without, wait, maybe I have to go down.
Are you talking about pulls though? Isn't it a push? Are they? Wait, isn't it? I'm sorry. It's a pull, right? It's only a pull. Are they pushing away?
No, not in this.
So just emphasize the.
Okay, so magnets can pull through objects. But that
Sure.
magnets can pull through. Should I use objects or materials? Since we use materials.
Sure. Material.
Materials.
Okay, we've got it in there. Do you have anything else you're gonna say?
No.
Okay, great.
Well, I have a question. Should we,
All right, y'all start setting up. Last group start setting up.
should we even have that on there? Very last one? The reasoning?